Good evening, and welcome tonight. There will be opportunity shortly for more introductions and welcomes, but I wanted to invite you. Our first piece this evening is a congregational hymn we'll all sing together, and I wanted to invite you to open the red hymnals in front of you. There are two things in front of you. One is a Bible, one is a hymnal. Look for the one with notes in it, and open that one to hymn number 689. This is what you're looking for. Yeah? See if we can all find that. It's so much easier to sing a song when you have the words in front of you. Yes? So we'll be singing 689. And you can remain seated because it's been a long day and you'll be more comfortable that way. And we will sing all 4 verses just for the fun of it. Done, everyone. And now a more formal welcome to you all. My name is Pastor Laura Zeal.
My name is Pastor Sam Nelson, and believe it or not, we did not coordinate our outfits ahead of time. We just both look really good in blue, so it was an inevitable and, actually come to think of it, frequent occurrence.
It is a frequent occurrence. This is what happens when you work together for a while. So blessings and welcome on behalf of both Pastor Sam and myself, as well as on behalf of Bethlehem. We are absolutely delighted and honored and graced to have you all with us here this evening. We like to understand ourselves as an all-are-welcome congregation, and there is nothing more gracious. I can feel it already because I was singing next to Cantor Larry. So I can feel it already that when we gather in this interfaith way, there is something about the way God appears that is different, deeper, richer, of deeper and fuller grace than when we gather in our individual places at other times. Not that that's not great too, but there is something about this gathering that is blessed, and we are so honored to have you here.
And speaking of gathering, the last few years have been a little challenging, I think we can all say, with COVID, and we've had to go on Zoom for the last 2, and those were wonderful in their own way, but it is such a blessing to be able to see all of you here, to be gathered in this place together. And so we are so thankful to have you with us, and we look forward to a very blessed and spirit-filled evening.
And there's cookies afterwards.
And there's cookies.
Karen.
Good evening. I'm Reverend Karen Koblenz, and it's my honor to be president of San Dieguito Interfaith Ministerial Association. And for those of you that may not know, this service was birthed by San Dieguito Interfaith Ministerial Association 35 years ago. And as I was reflecting today, I was doing exactly what Pastor Sam said, wondering what it would feel like to have you all here in person and those that are on live stream. And I thought I was ready for the emotion. And I was wrong. I'm not. But it truly is with deepest gratitude that I want to welcome you here. And I want to remind you that when this service was birthed, it was birthed to actually take the presence of interfaith and make it grow bigger and stronger. And bigger and stronger. And over 35 years, I'd say we've done a pretty good job. So for those that may have been here the very first time, or maybe for those that know about the history, I want to say thank you. For I know as we stand here in the face of adversity, uncertainty, and certainly conflicting sensory information, that we have emerged victoriously with our faith. We're stepping forward. So I simply want you to know from the depths of my being, you are interfaith. Because 40 years ago, to have these faiths under one roof probably wasn't going to happen. And it's because of you. So thank you, for you carry that torch, and I know you carry it in your heart. Thank you.
Everyone, I greet you all with a good thought and a good feeling here on this evening. My name is Adam Uribe. Grew up over here on the San Pasqual Indian Reservation, and I'm here to do a land acknowledgement. And I represent Mother Earth. I speak on behalf of Mother Earth, and so I acknowledge her as the mother of all creation on behalf of our native people here of this land. This land here, I'd like to acknowledge the Payuca Wichem people. We're in the Payuca Wichem territory here, the Ipai and the Papai and the Kumeyaay people here of this land. And so through that, I also would like to acknowledge the waters of this land that flow from the mountain down to the great waters here, the Pacific Ocean. Through that, we acknowledge the wind here of this land that we breathe, and also the food we eat. That all comes from this Mother Earth. And so I acknowledge her as a mother of creation, and also the life giver, and also the unconditional love that she always comes with. The harm that human beings have done to her, the continual taking from her. And she continues to give, she continues to blossom, she continues to bear the 4 seasons, and then the flowers, the plants, the animals, the insects, all over the beautiful family that we call all of our relations. And so I'd like to acknowledge them, and on behalf of my people, I speak upon for them, the ones who don't have a voice in this life here, the ones that are forgotten about, and the ones that, you know, the deers that we used to see come down here and touch the ocean can no longer do that, the mountain lion, the bobcat, the coyote, the bear. So I speak on behalf of them. I speak on behalf of the fish. I speak on behalf of all the ones, you know, that are overlooked like that. And on this great day of gratitude, you know, this one day that the U.S. give thanks, you know, I pray for a day that we can all give thanks like we're doing here tonight, you know, interfaith. I appreciate that here of this rooftop here. I appreciate the thought. I appreciate to be here. It's an honor for me to be here, to acknowledge this earth, for me to be here, to acknowledge each and every one of you, acknowledging our interfaith, our connection. We all bleed red. So I thank you that the light that shines upon us all, the rain that rains upon us all, this air that we breathe together, may this good spirit go out and touch all the world like that too, because we need this. The whole world needs this. It's a trying time. I believe there's a tilting point right now, and through this, maybe this little congregation here is going to have power. That's the way I feel about it. That's the way I think about it. And so through that, I was always told to be grateful. First thing when I rise up in the morning, look up to that light that rises in the east, that great sun. The light of the world, we call that. Daki, the creator. Be thankful. Get yourself ready and go out there and serve. Make yourself useful. Your brothers, your sisters, like that. And then also enjoy your life. And so I'm just going to say a short prayer here to participate in this union, to honor each and every one of us, our homes, our mothers, our fathers, our grandfathers, our ancestors. And then from here going forward, that this interfaith, that this spirit of this right here, this communion, one mind, one heart, one hand, going forward, something good's going to come like that. So I'd like to say, Aho Daki, thank you, Chuatse, for this beautiful night here, this good day that you've blessed upon us, and then these stars that shine upon us. Thank you for this good spirit here, this church here, the people that thought of this, that felt this, and the ones that came here. Bless us all. Bless all of our minds. Bless all of our hearts. Bless all of our hands, that we can come together, bring this good spirit into this world, this light, your holy light that shines upon us all and shows us the way. Bless all the ones in the world, maybe the little children that are hungry, that don't have something to eat, that don't have a mom and or dad to hug them. Bless the elders, too, that might be cold in this wintertime, too. So bless it like that, Holy Mother Earth, and may the food continue to grow, may the animals continue to prosper, and may the flowers continue to bloom, and may the waters continue to flow in a pure, good, clean way like that. Bless the great waters of the Pacific Ocean here in this land here, Turtle Island, Tonantzin. Thank you, and we acknowledge you, the mother of all creation here, all of us together here tonight, as we join our minds and our hearts and our spirits together in a gratitude in an interfaith way like this. Help us, all humanity, we're all native to this holy planet here, the best planet in the whole universe right here, because we are here, we live here, we call you home, and we love you, Holy Mother Earth, and we acknowledge you like that here tonight. Bless us, help us for our shortcomings, and forgive us for the things we might have done to harm you, and help us to go forward like this in a good way and acknowledge you. Put those offerings down and recognize you like that. And then also tell our children's children for the future generations coming, the unborn, the ones that are being born tonight too, that they can be born and have something good to eat, have some clean water to drink, and some clean air to breathe, and some loving people to tell them something good, to give them a hug, to have this inner faith like this for the future generations coming like this, Heavenly Father. So like this, I say this to you, Aho Chuatse.
My name is Yusef Miller, and I'm here to give a solemn moment of recognition of our brother who we've lost in the activism world, in the interfaith world. You may know him as Mustafa, and we have lost a great warrior in this era of making a change, making a difference, someone who was always putting his heart and soul into making a difference on this land that we acknowledge, the Payam Kuwicham, whether we're here for on the lands of the Kumeyaay, depending on where you are, he was there and he was making a difference for all of us. And we acknowledge his sacrifice, his time, and his effort in a moment of silence. And after the moment of silence, I will give a call to prayer from the Islamic tradition, and I'll do that in Arabic, and then I'll translate it to English. So for now, first, let's give a moment of silence for Brother Mustafa Nizam. Thank you. Again, I'll start off with the Islamic greeting of peace, Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you. And thank you. And I will start with the call to prayer. This is normally done in a very beautiful melodic voice, which I do not have. So I am simply here as a beloved brother and a colleague of Mustafa, but if you're here to hear the wonderful beauty of it, hopefully you're blessed another time to get that. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala falah. Hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. The translation. God is great. God is great. God is great. God is great. There is no God but the God. There is no God but the God. I bear witness that Muhammad is the apostle and prophet of the God. I bear witness that Muhammad is the apostle and prophet of the God. Hurry to prayer. Hurry to success. Hurry to prayer. Hurry to success. God is great. God is great. There is no God but the God. That call to prayer Muslims use as a distinguishing characteristic of our call to prayer. In the beginning, before we had this call to prayer, our Jewish brothers and sisters used the horn. Our Christian brothers and sisters used the bell. And we distinguish ourselves in this call to prayer by using the human voice. It unites us in that we call to prayer. And it identifies us as Muslims as we use this call of prayer. In the evening, we usually say it in a solemn voice as the sun has gone down. And it is very appropriate that we use a solemn voice in recognition of Brother Mustafa. I closed my call of prayer by saying that my prayer was delayed on coming here. So this is very appropriate for me to call to prayer before I have to go out and actually pray. So I'm not leaving you. I will be back, but I'm going out to pray. So just before I pray, now I have to say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an Muhammadin Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Qad qamatis salah, qad qamatis salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. And what I just said there was for Muslims to stand for prayer. The first was to call Muslims to prayer, and then they wait for everyone to get prepared, and then we stand for prayer. So that last statement is for Muslims. Now that we're ready to pray, everyone stands and get in rows to pray. So now I'm going to pray. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Mustafa Nizam. My name is Cantor Larry Cornett from Congregation B'nai Tikva. Before I start, Mustafa and I were friends. I'd say good friends. We fought together. We broke bread together. We laughed together, and we cried together. Though he and I had very differing views on very many things, the things that brought us together were incredibly important to me, and the one thing that we never did was question each other's integrity. When I found out that the topic tonight would be gratitude and resilience through faith, I realized that Jews are the poster children for gratitude, resilience through faith. When talking about prayer that we say, we very many times will do prayer through song. Moses and the Exodus from Egypt was the prayer where Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, the song at the Sea of Reeds, who is like unto you, O God. About 1312 BCE. And then 1025, when the Holy Temple was built, the first one, which was destroyed in 586 BCE. 539, Jews were allowed to return to Jerusalem by permission of King Cyrus. 516 BCE, the Second Temple was destroyed. The story of Esther in Persia, the Jewish-Roman War, the diaspora for Jews being driven out of their homeland, Henry III accusing Jews of counterfeiting money. Jews persecuted in Western Europe are invited to Poland by Casimir the Great. The Lisbon Massacre. Though I don't want this to be a history lesson, Jews have suffered anti-Semitism throughout history, becoming prevalent in the 1800s, and we all should know, if we were taught as we should have been taught, about the Holocaust. I know that for me, pointing at the Holocaust and saying, see, this is the worst atrocity that has ever happened in history, is an understatement to the Jewish people, because it's one of the worst atrocities that ever happened to humankind. It is not the defining moment of Jews. We are not defined by what we have gone through as a people. We are defined as what we have come through as a people. The founding of Israel in 1949 was not pretty. 750,000 indigenous people were displaced. Many because they were afraid that they were going to be caught in a crossfire. Many were driven out. Many were told to get out by both Arab and Jews. However, the need for a Jewish homeland from Jews all over the world, including those who were indigenous who were still there, was something that touched the heart of a great many Jews throughout the world. Zionism is an inherent need and desire for a Jewish homeland. And I will be the first one to say that the way some people are being treated within that area is untenable. However, I do want to sing you a piece that was written by a man by the name of Leopold. Leopold was one of the fathers of Yiddish music. It is the story of a man or woman coming out of and being liberated from the Holocaust. And their question, tell me, where can I go? Tell me, where can I go? There's no place I can see. Where to go, where to go? Every door is closed to me. To the left, to the right, it's the same in every land. There is nowhere to go, and it's me who should know. Won't you please understand? Wie ein soll ich gehen, wer kann entfernen mir? Wie ein soll ich gehen? Als verschlossen sehet hier, sie ist die Welt groß genug, nur war mir ist eng und klein, wie ein Blick muss zurück, siehst du schert jeder Brich, wie ein soll ich gehen. Now I know where to go, where my folk proudly stand. Let me go to that precious promised land. No more left, no more right. Lift your head and see the light. I am proud, can't you see? For at last I am free. No more wandering for me. With that, and the idea of Jewish music now being allowed to be written again, Jews found their way to their homeland. Not to be confused with anything that resembles dual loyalty. I am an American. I will always be an American. But I'm also a Jew. What that means is my citizenship is American. The homeland of my people is Eretz Israel. Our prayer is always that we pray for the peace of Jerusalem. It is very, very difficult to see that even on the horizon. But if we work at it, if we do the right thing, if we push for fair, equitable treatment of all people, there will be a path forward. Music is prayer to Jews. We hold that as Oseh shalom bimramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru Amen. God of peace, source of peace, and God of blessing, grant perfect peace to all of your creation for good, for life, and for peace. And together we can say, Amen.
I have to say, Cantor Cornet, that was very, very impressive. And in my congregation, I'm the only one in the congregation who's been asked not to join the choir, so you will not be hearing that from me. My name is Dave Jacinto, and I'm with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I really appreciate the opportunity of being invited here to speak to you for a couple of minutes. Some years ago, my daughter's high school boyfriend, Ryan Flaherty, joined our family for Thanksgiving dinner. Ryan's father had just abandoned his family, leaving Ryan, his mom, Stephanie, and his 3 younger sisters to fend for themselves. They were left financially destitute in a house with decades of deferred maintenance. Stephanie's life and home were literally crumbling down around her. Ryan shared the water in their home had just been turned off, and SDG&E was about ready to turn off the power. But for the grace of God, Stephanie found work at St. John's Elementary, where her daughters were attending school. Shortly after, she was diagnosed with cancer and scheduled for a double mastectomy right after Thanksgiving. Ryan's family was on our minds and in our hearts as we said our Thanksgiving prayers. That night, Ryan, my daughter Rachel, and the rest of our family hatched a plan to give Stephanie a break from her awful nightmare. She was a beautiful woman, kind and wonderfully sweet in every way. A dedicated mother who for 17 years had never once taken a day off from her children. Ryan clandestinely arranged for Stephanie to spend the next 3 weeks in Texas with her sister, a spa extravagance, while she recovered from surgery. We agreed to keep an eye on their children while she was gone. We spent the rest of that night planning a makeover of Stephanie's home to be completed while she was away on her spa retreat. I called our bishop. The Flahertys were not of our faith, but it didn't matter. He organized a work party from our congregation. Ryan contacted his friends from St. John's and Santa Fe Christian, where he had gone to school. Rachel, my daughter, and her older brother recruited friends from La Costa Canyon. Virtually all the materials were donated by the local businesses. Over the next 3 weeks, we went through that house like an invasion of locusts, demolishing the old and replacing with new. Drywall, plumbing, electrical, roof tile. We painted the inside and the outside too. New carpet and flooring throughout the house. Members of our congregation worked with Catholics, Lutherans, and other faiths, and non-religious young men and women from the high schools. It didn't matter. We worked together. All scurried off after rolling out the last bit of grass, just as Ryan, Rachel, and the girls drove Stephanie home on Christmas Eve. When Stephanie saw her remodeled home, tears streamed down her cheeks. When she opened the front door, her crying started all over again. And when she opened the cabinets in the refrigerator full of food, well, she sat down in the middle of her newly carpeted front room, next to her newly decorated Christmas tree, and tears of heart-wrenching joy rolled down her face. For most of us, that was our Christmas. But it was the best one ever. Did I mention that Ryan, an all-CIF football player, decided to graduate midterm? He gave up an athletic scholarship to stay home, work, and take care of his family until his mom passed away. Ryan has a single tattoo right here. It says Mom. J.M. Barrie, the author of Peter Pan, wrote, "If we can just be a little kinder than necessary, the world would be a lot better place. The flash of inspiration to help a neighbor may come like a strike of lightning in a winter storm, or softly as a still small voice as it touches our heart. In this difficult time, when our young people struggle so, trying to find their way, may we always remember that when we stand together as sons and daughters of our Heavenly Father in the service of our neighbors, we are only in the service of our God. All will be blessed by this act of Christian kindness, regardless of what faith we follow, as Christ illuminates, by their deeds and their fruits ye shall know them." Over the years since I've had a number of young people, men and women each, remind me of their profound feelings of joy that Christmas when they worked together side by side, shoulder to shoulder, with others not of their faith. Stephanie passed away 4 months later, But over those months, women from different faiths, touched by the Spirit of Christ, brought meals into her home every night. Before she returned home to her Father in heaven, she blessed these friends who had been there for her family as Christians in the true sense of the word. I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Buenas noches a todos. Dios les bendiga. ¿Cómo están? My name is Ricardo Velarde, and I am a missionary, a pastor, called to the Hispanic community here in Encinitas. And I'm accompanied by my beautiful wife, Lulu, of 15 years, and I'm so thankful. Together we have 4 beautiful children. 1 boy and 3 girls. So pray for me. Very thankful to be here today. Thank you for Reverend Laura and Sam for opening the doors of your church here at Bethlehem. Thank you as well for Reverend Karen for unifying us and inviting us to be part of this wonderful community. Thank you as well for Adam representing this land, and for Yusuf, who led us in prayer so beautifully. As well, we pray for Mustafa's family, and we're grateful for the cost and the calling and the legacy that he left. Thank you as well for Cantor and his wonderful and beautiful lesson today. Learned so much. I'm very grateful for the nation of Israel. And we do pray daily for peace in Israel. I also give thanks to Dave Jacinto for leading us in that wonderful story that we all are so inspired by. My grandfather was a farmer. He raised cattle in the mountains of Mexico near Sonora, where he as well drove a truck full of piglets and was able to deliver those to ranchers and farms to be eaten, to be used for service. My other grandfather was a miner. He worked in the mine of copper mine in the mountains of Bisbee, Arizona, on both sides of Mexico and the U.S. My dad grew up there and then became an industrial engineer. My father ended up working in Nogales, Arizona, working at a manufacturer that built luggage for Samsonite. Did that for more than 35 years. I grew up there. My dad was a man of integrity, of example, hardworking, raised his family. There was 3 of us. I'm the oldest of 3. I won't tell you how old I am, but I am 40. Then my brother and my sister. A few years ago, we were able to plant a church, a Spanish-speaking church, in Temecula, Riverside County, where my wife and I thought we were going to be there, stay there, preach the Word of God every Sunday, and grow old and raise our children, and that will be it. I say all this because a year and a half ago, God called us to Encinitas. God opened a door for us to be able to become part of this community. I don't know if you realize, but this is a beautiful community. It's a wonderful place. Don't pay attention on the prices, and you'll be okay. So we moved out here and became a mission, became a goal for us to impact and serve our community, our Spanish-speaking community specifically. But I know that building bridges with you and building bridges together is part of what Jesus did. I was just telling my wife a minute ago that I bet you this is where Jesus will be this night, hanging out with all of us, sharing stories, doing miracles, and telling us all about his Heavenly Father. So that's what we're doing in our community, and God opened some doors to be able to work a food distribution, and we run that every Wednesday. It's open to all public, and we run it 8 a.m. in the morning till 10 a.m. But in reality, everything runs out by 9 a.m. We get here at 7 a.m. Some of us get here at 6 and start setting up and bagging the food, the groceries, the fresh vegetables, diapers, wipes. And we pray for the families that are going to come. More than 150 families have been coming through this food distribution in the last couple of years. And we've been receiving volunteers from everywhere, from this community. And I'll tell you, it's a wonderful community. And in this evening, I am reminded of a portion in John chapter 10. And before I read verses 1 through 9, on this food distribution that we run every Wednesday, I have many stories I could share with you. Stories of conversations, stories of prayers that have been happening, as well as stories of happiness and blessings. But the number one thing that has been happening is seeing the gratitude of everyone who comes, from the volunteers, people putting their time to help and serve their community, of those coming and picking up the fresh goods that we give them so happy. And every Wednesday, this fills my heart. It encourages me that together we can make a difference. Then we were able to open a Bible study on Sundays where you could hear me preach in Spanish every Sunday at 1 o'clock at Venture Church. We call it Venture Español, go figure. Make it simple, right? Right now I'm going through the book of John. And I'm reminded of John chapter 10, where Jesus refers to himself as the good shepherd. Verse 1 says, "Most assuredly, I say to you, he who does not enter the shepherd by the door, but climbs up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep come and hear his voice. And he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. And when he brings out his own sheep, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Yet they will by no means follow a stranger, but will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers." Jesus used this illustration, but they did not understand the things which he spoke to them. Then Jesus said to them again, most assuredly I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who ever come before me are thieves and robbers. But the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved, and will go in and out and find pasture. The thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. But I have come that they may have life, and that they may have life more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for his sheep. When the sheep were put in that place, inside those corrals, inside those gates, there was no actual gate. There was the shepherd who would stand at the gate and protect the sheep from the wolves. And I believe that together, this interfaith meeting and prayer, we could thank God for being our good shepherd, keeping us and protecting us, and doing the same for our community. Let me pray. Let's bow our heads. Would you mind if I pray a quick prayer? A blessing over us. Lord, thank you so much for this night. Thank you for your word. Thank you that you're the good shepherd. And Lord, let us hear your voice. Let us be grateful to you. Lord, bless each and every one of those that are here, those that we know, and those that we come in contact. Lord, I pray that you will bless each family here represented. That if someone here today, Lord, is in need of a kind word, of prayer, of encouragement, that they will know that you are here, Lord. Just as I would imagine. Praying with us, doing miracles, healing our hearts, providing for this community, those that need you. Señor, gracias por tu palabra. Gracias por mi comunidad. Bendice este tiempo en el nombre de Jesús. Amén. Dios les bendiga.
Thank you. Well, good evening. My name is Reverend Chelsea Simon, and I am the associate pastor at San Dieguito United Methodist Church. It's just behind the In-N-Out off the 5. It used to be behind the Del Taco, and no one knew where we were, but now that the In-N-Out's there, people know where we are. I'm also co-creator of The Collective Table, which is a progressive and affirming Christian platform that produces resources, content, and community for those who want to follow Jesus, work for justice, and celebrate joy.
Good evening. I am Dana Black, and I am the Director of Connection and Engagement Ministry at San Dieguito, and I am also the co-creator of The Collective Table, a progressive and affirming Christian community that celebrates Jesus, justice, and joy. This reflection comes from Diana Butler Bass. Diana is an award-winning author, popular speaker, inspiring preacher, and one of America's most trusted commentators on religion and contemporary spirituality. She shares this through her periodic newsletter entitled The Cottage.
Strange thing about gratitude, it always comes with a preposition. We are grateful for something, grateful to someone, and often grateful with others. Even in untargeted gratitude, and when you are completely alone, prepositions show up. Imagine you need to get away, perhaps to struggle with a decision or a grief. During the winter, a friend loaned you her beach house. It is the off-season, and you are alone. One morning you wake up and walk at the water's edge. The sun is rising, colors shimmer off the waves, painting them shades of blue and pink and silver, unlike any you have ever seen before.
All of a sudden, your heart opens up. You feel grateful for the beautiful sunrise, grateful to your friend, and grateful with the soaring seabirds. There are no other human beings, but you experience gratitude. And surprisingly enough, you also make community. In that moment, no matter how isolated the shore, gratitude connects you to nature's rhythms, to the memory of a distant friend, and to other creatures. The sun and the sea offer their gifts indiscriminately, as they always do. But you still say thanks to them, to your friend, perhaps to God. There on a deserted beach, gifts are given and received, praise returned, and a new awareness of connection comes alive.
When it comes to gratitude, me always leads to we. Gratitude takes us outside ourselves, insists Robert Emmons, where we see ourselves as part of a larger, intricate network of sustaining relationships that are mutually reciprocal.
On November 22nd, 2015, Pastor Jason Malachi stood in the pulpit in Aldersgate United Methodist Church in Alexandria, Virginia, and preached a sermon on gratitude. It was right before Thanksgiving, and it was the church's stewardship season. That means fundraising. A time when congregations are urged to consider gifts and generosity. In the autumn, a gratitude sermon was nothing out of the ordinary.
But this was not an ordinary day for Jason. Jason, a 40-something father with young children, was preaching for the first time in nearly a year since being diagnosed with and treated for a rare and incurable form of cancer. He was better, and the cancer was controlled, but as the congregation knew, he would have to do chemo every 2 months for the rest of his life. He stood at the pulpit, barely out of treatment, to preach a Thanksgiving sermon for his community.
He began, "You all have done so much for us. You fed us and prayed for us and with us. You've helped us with many medical bills, and you've sat with me in the hospital. You were there to catch me when I passed out in the chemo room, and you didn't bat an eye when I puked in your car."
But he said as much as he appreciated it, he actually hated all the help. "I've always been awful at receiving gifts," he admitted. "I hate feeling like I'm in another's debt. I was a guy who kept score, which means I didn't mind you being in my debt. I just didn't want to be in yours."
But he learned something. Gratitude is not about repayment of debt. It is about relationships. Through his cancer, Jason discovered that courage and hope could not be summoned magically. Rather, strength and healing came through community. He spoke of the church's greatest gift to his family in crisis. "We can endure all things because you've been with us. You're with us. More so than all the stuff you've done for us, you've been with us." With no dry eye in the congregation, he continued, "It was kind of you to share in my nightmare. It was kind of you to share in my pain and suffering. It was kind of you to share in Allie's worry and in my boys' fears and anxieties. It was kind of you to make my cancer, our cancer, yours too. Thank you," he finished,
for being with me.
Gratitude is social. It is about, as Pastor Jason learned, presence, participation, and partnership. It is about being with one another, in life together. It is the thread of nature and neighbor, the seemingly fragile strands of gifts and goodness that we weave our lives together. Amen.
Hello, my name is Suri Makarian. I'm a student of MTU Shah Maksudi, School of Islamic Sufism. MTU has centers all across the world. We also have a center here in San Diego. And what MTU teaches mostly is self-knowledge and accessing self-cognition and connecting to your essence within through the teachings of Sufism. MTU is also very active in community service and charity and art, music, and all aspects that could lead to sharing and uniting. So for tonight, I have 3 very short readings that focus on a human being's journey back to his or her essence and his or her union with the truth within and with the love that glues and binds every particle together in existence. The first reading is a very short verse from the Holy Quran. God is the protector of those who have faith. From the depths of darkness, He leads them forth into light. Holy Quran, Surah 2, verse 257. A side note that in Sufism, anytime it's spoken of love or the beloved, it's a reference to existence and the Creator. And I'm going to share with you 2 short poems by Professor Nader Anga, the Sufi teacher of our school. Love is a covenant of faith, trust, support, and appreciation. For lovers in love, this is called unity. If there were no barrier in the path of love, it could be simple, not hard, my love. Have no fear from thorns and thistles, since your love has blossomed in my heart. Thank you for having me here.
We'll be sharing a collection of quotations and writings from various faiths as well as various influential people of our time and the past on the topics of gratitude and resilience and such. Defeat is in your mind, resilience is in your soul. Carrie Murphy.
There is always a light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. Amanda Gorman.
Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. The Holy Bible.
The strongest oak of the forest is not the one that is protected from the storm and hidden from the sun. It is the one that stands in the open, where it's compelled to struggle for its existence against the winds and rains and the scorching sun. Napoleon Hill.
O you who have believed, seek help through patience and prayer. Indeed, Allah is with the patient. Holy Quran.
We have a power within us, a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact in the outer, a power that can overcome every obstacle in our life and set us safe, satisfied and at peace, healed and prosperous, in a new light and in a new life. Ernest Holmes.
The soul is both the most fragile and most resilient thing about you. A healthy soul is what holds you together when your world falls apart. Since you will carry your soul into eternity, It's worth checking up on it at least as often as your teeth. John Ortberg.
If you are so angry, so depressed, and so sore that your spirit cannot find deliverance and peace even in prayer, then quickly go and give some pleasure to someone lowly or sorrowful, or to a guilty or innocent sufferer. Sacrifice yourself, your talent, your time, your rest to another, to one who has to bear a heavier load than you, and your unhappy mood will dissolve into a blessed, contented submission to God. Abdul Baha.
When you are in doubt, be still and wait. When doubt no longer exists for you, then go forward with courage. So long as mists envelop you, be still. Be still until the sunlight pours through and dispels the mists, as it surely will. Then act with courage. Chief White Eagle, Ponca.
One moment can change a day, one day can change a life, and one life can change the world. Buddha.
Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. C.S. Lewis.
Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be distressed, for I am your God. I give you strength, I give you help. I support you with my victorious right hand. Isaiah 41:10, Complete Jewish Bible.
Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising every time we fall. Confucius.
Forget mistakes, forget failure, forget everything except what you are going to do right now and do it. Today is your lucky day. Will Durant. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Joe Mosca. I'm the Deputy Mayor of the City of Encinitas, and very grateful to be here with you guys tonight. It's very nice to see you all. This is always a very good treat for me to come out and to spend some time with you, and definitely tonight I've been uplifted by some of the words here tonight. So thank you so much for what you do. I'm here tonight on behalf of the City of Encinitas and the City Council of Encinitas to show some gratitude for this interfaith association, which has meant so much to the City of Encinitas for almost 40 years. For almost 40 years, you guys have brought different faith organizations in our great city together to do some tremendous work in our city, and we are grateful for it. We are especially grateful for your partnership in helping with the unhoused population in our city, and those that are food insecure. And so on behalf of the city, I'd like to present Karen or whomever would like to represent the organization. I'd like to present you with a mayor's certificate of recognition, presented on behalf of the city's mayor and city council with sincere appreciation for your important contributions with assisting our local homeless population. We are grateful for SDIMA's efforts in mobilizing our city's interfaith groups and working hand in hand with the City of Encinitas and other stakeholders to raise awareness and address critical issues affecting our community. Thank you for modeling resilience and faith in the community. Signed, Catherine Blakespeare, Mayor of the City of Encinitas. Thank you so much. Since we have one other very important organization in the audience today that has been a really vital partner with the City of Encinitas for 40 years, I'd like to recognize them too. Community Resource Center here in the City of Encinitas has been just a tremendous partner with us to help those that have been victims of sexual assault and people, our unhoused population, and people that are food insecure. They've been, in the beginning, one of our only resources in the City of Encinitas, Though we have, I think, broadened what we've done, they have still a vital resource, especially now as we're seeing so many of our brothers and sisters that are falling behind. Community Resource Center has been just a godsend. So thank you so much to the Community Resource Center. And I see the head of the CRC here, and I'd like to present him with a Mayor's Certificate of Recognition. It reads, "Presented on behalf of the Encinitas Mayor and City Council, with sincere appreciation for your important contributions with assisting people experiencing domestic violence and homelessness, we are grateful for your efforts to help those in need and to avoid hunger, and to be committed community partner and vital resources for the city of Encinitas. Thank you for modeling resilience with faith and community." Thank you. Thank you, guys, and happy Thanksgiving. Thanks so much.
In moments like this, it's often easy to try and tell the story of CRC and the people we help, but we're privileged tonight, I'm privileged tonight, to be able to introduce Ted Cabanas, who is a person who has experienced this story of help and is living it today. So Ted, would you mind coming, please, and sharing?
Good evening. My name is Ted Cabanas, and I'm very grateful to be here tonight. And I've been, it's going to be hard for me to get through this. It's been a very emotional night because I feel like you're telling my story. And for the last 4 years, I've been praying for world peace, and what's been happening here tonight is like the vision I've had. 5 years ago, I walked shirtless and barefoot in 100-degree weather for 3 days and 3 nights with no food or water. And I walked until I thought I was going to die. And I got to the base of a very large hill in Escondido. And a voice in my head said, if you walk up this hill, you're going to die. And at that very moment, a minivan pulled up. And this guy opens the door, says, hey, what are you doing? You doing some soul searching? Like, where's your shoes? You want to ride? And I get in the van with this guy in a state of alcohol and drug-induced insanity. And he says, where are you going? And I just didn't answer. I just stared straight ahead like a man lost at sea. I was just so done. And he drove me to my friend's house. My friend drove me to the emergency room. And I finally got honest with my psychiatrist for the first time in years. I'd been lying about my problems. And I ended up in a rehab. And when I was 5 years old, my parents got divorced, and that was not really the problem. The problem was what transpired after the divorce. Was my dad always told me that my mother was a bad person, and my mom always told me that my dad was a bad person. In college, taking psychology, that was a form of psychological verbal abuse. Also, the same year, I was sexually molested by a clergy member, and fortunately, I was a very large human being, and I could vent my frustrations on the football field. So in high school, I was the captain of the football team. I was the class president. And I played 4 years of college football. My junior year, I made all academic honors for the NCAA. I also had a knee surgery that year, and I got addicted to prescription painkillers. And my alcoholism became a progressive illness. The following year, after a short bodybuilding career, I got addicted to diet pills, and I started drinking every day when I got married. And I created a daily habit of weight loss pills in the morning, illegally purchased pain pills after my doctor cut me off during the day, and drinking myself to sleep. And I was often awake for 7 to 10 days replaying the clergy member abuse over and over in my head with a state of racing thoughts of insanity. And I was 26 the first time I drank myself into insanity, ended up in an insane asylum, and got diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And that behavior went on for years until 2017 when that guy picked me up in that van. And that week, in 2017, I hit a very hard rock bottom. My wife left me. I lost my career of 8 years in cellular technology. I was $87,000 in debt. My car got repoed, and I lost my job because I went into work loaded. And so when When that happened, I ended up in a rehab. I went to a sober living, and I got involved with a 12-step program and started working the 12 steps. The problem with my situation was leading up to 2017 was the beginning of the collapse, and I've been spending the last 5 years cleaning up the collapse. And the Community Resource Center plays a pivotal role in my perseverance. And that's why I'm here to talk tonight, because in that first year, I acquired a new job, and though I was good in face-to-face sales, I was very bad at over-the-phone sales. And so I got fired for this job, and that was it. I had exhausted every imaginable resource in my life. I couldn't get a loan. I owed the state money. I couldn't get unemployment. And I had no choice but to move into my van at 1 year sober. And I moved into that van, and like, I didn't know what else to do, and I asked God for help in such a genuine way. I can't explain how genuine it was, but at that time, I had a $300 a month nicotine habit, and it just dawned on me when I asked God for help that there was one thing I had not tried, and that was working a spiritual-based program that my sponsor and the pastor of my church had suggested, and that's what I did. The next day, I cold turkey nicotine. I haven't had any since, 4 years. And I started praying and meditating like a spiritual guru, and I started walking 50 miles a week by the beach, and I started reading all kinds of spiritual literature, like all the religions that are here tonight. I've read all the books, and I've even read the Old and New Testament cover to cover. Like I just really got involved with faith and service. My son and I fed the homeless on Thanksgiving Day 4 years ago when I was homeless. You know, like the service was like a way I could give back. And 3 months after moving into the van, my friend at a 12-step program came up to me and says, "How's the van life going?" And I said, "It's all right, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get out." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "Well, I needed a job, and I couldn't get it because I didn't have a driver's license. But I couldn't get a driver's license because I didn't have a physical address. I couldn't get a P.O. box because I didn't have a residence. And I feel like the system is created to keep me where I am." And he says, "Have you tried the CRC?" And I said, I tried another place in another city, and I was given a big stack of paperwork, and I felt very judged, and it was not a very good experience. And he says, "Try the CRC." And I can't tell you how grateful I am, because when I went in there, I gave them my ID, and within 15 minutes, I was talking to a social worker, and that's when I met Chad. And Chad sat me down, did not stick a stack of paper in my face. He listened to my story. I felt safe. I felt heard. He got me food that day, and he says, "What do you want out of this?" And I said, "You know, I have a son, and I'm living in this van. We can't have sleepovers. Do you have anything like rental assistance?" And he says, "We do. It could take a very long time to get." And I just said, "Great." And that day, I left with 2 giant bags of toiletries and food, and I was just living in a van. The biggest expense I had was food. And so now I didn't have to worry about that. 10 months went by, and I was living in acceptance and gratitude in this van, sleeping in the 24-hour fitness parking lot, showering in the 24-hour fitness, and driving a limousine. And it didn't pay well, but I never missed a child support payment in the 14 months I lived in that van. And 10 months go by, I was going to the Community Resource Center, I was getting food every month, and this guy, and I spoke at a 12-step meeting, and this guy came up afterwards, and he says, "You know, you have a college degree in sales. Are you really satisfied living in your van?" And it just hit me like, I'm not satisfied living in my van. And this is like, you know, God works in mysterious ways. I go down to the CRC to check with Chad, and I just said, "Hey," and he wasn't there, and I said, "Hey, can you tell him I stopped by?" And he calls me the next day, and he's so excited, and I'm like, "What? And "You're not going to believe this. The day you came to say hello to me, you got qualified for rental assistance." And I said, "Oh my God, you're kidding." He was more excited about it than I was. He couldn't believe it. And so this is where the story gets interesting. I got the rental assistance, and he says, "Well, now you got to find someone willing to do the paperwork." And so I had a large connection in the 12-step program, and I sent a big group text, and within 24 hours, I had a room to rent. And Chad checked it out, and I moved into this place, and I had 6 months of rental assistance. COVID happened, and I got laid off. And without that rental assistance, I would have been back in my van. And more importantly, Chad kept in contact with me and called me, and I said, "You know, I've got bipolar, I need my meds, I don't have insurance anymore." He gave me the phone numbers, he gave me websites to get Medi-Cal and the EBT card, and got me unemployment insurance and all these things. And I just made a full-time job of looking for a job and growing a garden. And I grew vegetables for the first time in my life. And 1 month before the rental assistance was about to expire, and I was about to move. I had already planned. I was going to move back into my van. I didn't know what to do. I just kept praying. I kept being of service. I kept helping people get sober, and I just stayed in the beaten path, and I did not take a drink no matter what. And by the grace of God, I got hired with the largest delivery company in the world, and today I have a 401k and a pension. I make a significant amount of money, and I did not have to move out of my house, and I still live there to this day. And I stayed sober through the whole thing, and I just can't tell you, John, how grateful I am for the CRC, what you've done for me and my family. My son and I have sleepovers now, and when I was an alcoholic, I was not a good father or a husband, and my ex-wife sent me a text message a month ago thanking me for being such a great father to our son. And, without the CRC, that it wouldn't be possible, because we wouldn't be able to have the sleepovers. And so I'm very grateful. I just want to close with a couple things. I know a lot of people in my circle have a big opinion, mostly negative, about homelessness. And I can honestly say that the CRC is doing their part to solve the problem, and I'm grateful for that. And I just want to close with a prayer that I say every day, throughout the day. I want to pray for the alcoholic who still suffers, the drug addict who still suffers, and the mentally ill that still suffers, with a serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God bless. Thank you.
And on Wednesday, Ted is going to medieval times with his son. I had an idea of what I was going to say tonight, and then this evening happened, and that idea changed. I am the son of a minister. I have my own master's in theology. I've studied and read them all, like Ted. And there was something profoundly lacking in all of my studies and all of my journeys along the way. And it came to a crisis point in my own life when I realized I needed to stop doing the studying. I needed to stop doing all the reading and start doing the doing. In the good book that I know, one of the least favorite people that some of the people would talk about is James, the book of James in the New Testament. James was a very pragmatic guy. He was not really fluffy when he talked about our faith, right? And he talked about living faith. And he boiled it down to this, and I know this to be true and common among all faiths and religions in the world. And he put it this way: you show me your faith by what you say, I'll show you my faith by what I do. And one of the things that I'm grateful for tonight, one of the things I'm grateful for in my opportunity to serve this community in serving at CRC, is I get to work with and engage with everybody in this community from all walks of life, the spiritual kind of mosaic that is Encinitas, right? I get to enjoy this whole blend of everything that we are and coming together and working around and in a setting where our community, from all of the different paths, all of the different walks of life, all of the different faith traditions, all of the different perspectives, one community comes together in all of these different ways with one heart, with the heart to make sure that our neighbors who are experiencing hunger, our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness, our neighbors who are experiencing hurt, are able to create a path to healthy food, stable homes, and safe relationships. In this evening, we come together through all of these expressions of faith and tradition as one community with one heart. And I'm incredibly grateful for the willingness of Ted to come and speak not just his own story, but as a representative of the many people who come to us for help and need this kind of community and support. Thank you. You make a difference, and I'm grateful.
Good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. It is not even fair that I get to go last. You can't bear to look at me because I'm the only person standing between the cookies and you. So sorry about that. So this evening has been so heartwarming for me. Thank you for honoring my husband. He would have been right up here telling all of us to hurry up and telling me what to say. So thank you. Thank you, Reverend Karen, for that. It's been so beautiful. After 3 years, we get to come here and be amongst each other. Love is just flowing through this room. I can just see it. The prayer by Brother Yusuf, the beautiful Hebrew song by Cantor Larry, the heartwarming story of the sister who had cancer by Brother Dave, and the journey from Temecula to Encinitas of Pastor Ricardo, the collective story by Chelsea and Dana, that really took me to the beach. The soulful sayings of Suri, and the beautiful, what do we call them, sayings by Kiara and Rena. Sweet Kiana. Thank you, Joe Mosca, for honoring CRC and SDIMA. We truly have a partnership at the City of Encinitas with these two organizations. Standing up for our unhoused population, our food insecure community, CRC has been a great resource, not only for the City of Encinitas, but all who come there and beyond. SDIMA has been doing this work for many, many years. You heard the story of SDIMA from Reverend Karen. Unfortunately, I haven't been part of that journey for a very long time. I think I've been here for the past 8 years. And in these 8 years, every single time, every single year, the way that the SDIMA community, the congregations that belong to SDIMA show up time and again, to show up with service, with offerings, with a hot drink, with cookies. The people that belong at the table of SDIMA show up in so many different ways, I can't even mention all of them. When I first came to SDIMA, my notion was, oh, it's an interfaith group. And since I came from a very interfaith background, I was like, rightfully, I belong here. This is place for me. But I also had a different life of social justice circles that I did. But slowly, I saw that my life in my interfaith community and my social justice community started becoming a Venn diagram. Because my community at SDIMA had realized, and it was growing more and more in the social justice world and the service world. In the last few years, Reverend Karen has just turned things around beyond belief. She's amazing. And one thing I love about her, she reminds me, whenever I start to freak out, she's like, it will be what it's meant to be. And that just calms me down. Because for those of you who know me, I am a very hyper individual. During the year, especially in Encinitas, SDIMA and the groups that belong to SDIMA show up to the Encinitas Street Fair, for the mayor's prayer breakfast, North County Veterans Stand Down, Hands of Peace, one of the most fun activities that Encinitas has. No, I'm just kidding. The Stuffed Animal Drive for Rady Children's Hospital, Feeding San Diego, the Supplies Drive for the Ocean Knoll School, and the Showers of Blessing that happen at Bethlehem Lutheran and St. Andrews. Every single day, the folks at SDIMA show up with pants when Mandy says, I need pants for my folks. The people at SDIMA show up. When there is a food drive that CRC is running, the people at SDIMA show up. When there's something going on at Sister Faith's, SDIMA shows up. So many ways of giving. And we, as a community, as an organization, as a collective of groups of faith, different faith-based communities, we show up. And SDIMA draws this ever-growing table. It's not rectangular, it's not oval, it's an ever-growing table with so many different sides. And as new communities join, we open up further. Pull on a chair, come on over, join our SDIMA table. And this warms my heart beyond belief. Because this is not just an exclusive group where only faith-based communities are allowed. You don't belong to a congregation? No problem. Come on, join us. You're not of the ecumenical main faiths? That's all right. We got a seat for you. So our ever-growing SDIMA family keeps growing, keeps evolving, but with the continuous devotion and commitment to service to our community members. Those community members that are in a difficult time today. And as Ted has shown us, with a little bit of help can overcome all of that. So today I stand here and ask for support. As dear Dana said, stewardship. Thank you for that. Stewardship for this amazing organization. Stewardship for our partnership with the CRC. And I know you want the cookies before you go home tonight. And I'm standing right here while you are thinking about those cookies. At least I am. My sister-in-law sent some really good almond flour cookies outside. Please don't forget to try those before you go. That's my tempting plug-in. So as I stand here, I ask for your stewardship, for your support, and for your commitment that you will keep this table growing by showing up with new chairs and new people and with your checks. So my dear brothers and sisters, let's show up for an organization that does such wonderful work, has partnerships with the most amazing organization in Encinitas, and we all belong to and is home to all of us. Thank you.
We're going to pass offering plates so we can do what Tazim asked us to do. And we've heard many beautiful voices this evening, and we have one opportunity left to raise our voices together tonight. As we gather offering, we're going to be singing 692 in the hymnals in front of you. The title is We Are an Offering. The words fit us beautifully this evening. 692.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. Well, there's so much they hold, and just like them old stars, I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? Well, I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up, and when you're needing your space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting to see what you find. 'Cause even the stars, they burn, some even fall to the earth. We got in line to learn. God knows we're worth it. No, I won't give up. I don't want to be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got here. We got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we did intend for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I got and what I'm not, and who I am. skies get rough, I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up.
I think that speaks to resilience, does it not? That's what we came here for. That's what we're here to do. I know you all want your cookies, some more than others, but I'd like to leave you with just one small quote. 13th century Catholic theologian, philosopher, and mystic. Yes, some of you probably already know who I'm speaking of, Meister Eckhart. And he simply said, if there was one prayer that I can say, it's thank you, and that will be enough. So on behalf of San Dieguito Interfaith Ministerial Association, thank you.